In a letter dated the 11th of February, Dame Priti Patel and Wendy Morton say the treaty text was finalised in December but has still not been laid before Parliament for scrutiny. They say MPs have had to rely on media reports and statements from the Gibraltar government rather than receiving an official update from ministers. The letter points to the diversion of a UK Gibraltar flight to Malaga and the detention and return of British passengers by Spanish authorities, saying the incident highlights the real-world consequences of uncertainty over border arrangements. The Conservatives also expressed concern about sovereignty, noting that any agreement must protect Gibraltar's jurisdiction and control, including how checks at the port and airport are carried out. They're seeking clarity on the timetable for implementation and on what guidance is being issued to travellers and authorities ahead of any changes. The letter concludes by stressing that the treaty, which is said to have been finalised in December, should be brought before Parliament under the Constitutional Reform and Governance Act for proper scrutiny. The letter follows a raft of written questions Miss Morton put to the Europe Minister Stephen Doughty about treaty arrangements for travellers to Gibraltar. These included British nationals abroad, immigration, Schengen and border controls, as well as aviation. In his replies, Stephen Doughty referred mostly to his earlier answers provided on these subjects, but clarified the issue of travellers to Gibraltar. In respect of diverted flights, he said passengers arriving in Malaga, as with all Schengen states, become subject to Schengen entry rules. He said for British citizens travelling on a full British passport, the 90 out of 180-day limit for visa-free stays applies. Travellers who do not hold a full British citizen passport, including those with other categories of British nationality, may require a Schengen visa to enter Spain. Meanwhile, the Gibraltar government has met in London with Lord Stirrup, the newly appointed chair of the House of Lords European Affairs Committee, to discuss the treaty's operational implications, with particular focus on border fluidity. The government says it is committed to keeping the committee and MPs updated as the treaty progresses through Parliament. It adds that Gibraltar's engagement programme in London is continuing to build recognition among parliamentarians that the ROC's unique circumstances require a bespoke solution, one that protects sovereignty, ensures legal certainty and maintains the closest possible relationship with the EU. Speaking after a briefing, the former chairman of the All Party Parliamentary Group for Gibraltar, Sir Bob Neill, said there was very positive support for the treaty in meetings involving members of both Houses of Parliament.
And having a lot of those recently with members of both Houses of Parliament, some of the key committees in both Houses of Parliament. Just left a meeting with the new chair of the European Affairs Committee, for example. They're very positive. Everybody recognises that it's absolutely in Gibraltar's interest to have a good and effective deal, particularly to ensure a cross-flowing frontier, but at the same time respecting Gibraltar's British sovereignty and British identity. Those are the red lines that both the UK and Gibraltar have had, and the good news is that hasn't changed since the change of government. The current government is as committed as the previous one to protecting Gibraltar's British sovereignty, but also getting a deal that works and supporting the Gibraltar government in getting that deal, making sure that if it's acceptable to Gibraltar, then Britain will stand behind that. And I'm very optimistic that we're making good progress there.
The treaty is expected to be signed and published soon. However, it won't be subject to scrutiny in the UK Parliament, followed by its formal ratification, until it's first debated in the Gibraltar Parliament and a motion is passed saying that Gibraltar is content to be bound by the agreement.